podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by 99 Designs, the world's largest graphic design marketplace. 99 Designs connects businesses seeking quality, affordable designs with a community of more than 225,000 graphic designers. Visit 99designs.com/AAA to receive a free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99. And by Ting.com. Ting is a mobile phone service that makes sense. Save money with Ting. You pay for what you use, doesn't require a contract, and offers unlimited devices on one pooled plan. To save $25 on your first Ting device, visit allaboutandroid.ting.com. That's allaboutandroid.ting.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 128, recorded on Tuesday, September 24th, 2013. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Gina Trapani.
Yep, we got Ron back in the studio. We got Gina over there on the set. That feels normal. Over here, we have an awesome guest, Derek Ross, writer at Fandroid. It's great having you on board, Derek.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Absolutely. You're actually newly at Fandroid. You just moved over there a couple of weeks ago beforehand at Android Authority. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been at Fandroid for a few weeks. Before that, I was writing for Android Authority, but there was politically correct creative differences that landed me at Fandroid, and I'm very excited to be there because they're the very first Android news website. So that's pretty cool.
That's right.
Nice.
They've been doing it for a long time.
That's a good legacy to be a part of. Nice.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, it's awesome having you on board, and obviously wearing your glass. You're all over the Google Plus, and you're always wearing Google Glass, so it's nice to see you on the show wearing your glass as well. We have unfortunately dropped that flag a little bit. Gina and I can't. We've worn glass on the show a couple of times, but
Have you actively?
The whole double screen thing doesn't make sense, right? Like when you're, for me, and you said this, Jason, and you actually put it really well. I was like sitting in front of a screen with a screen in front of my eyes just didn't feel right to me. And I also just don't wear glasses in generally, so I had a hard time getting used to it. But I do wear them kind of like out and about when I'm going for a hike or just out on the weekends, kind of going around. But I think it's great. I think it's great that Derek's fully committed to it.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna inquire.
Everywhere, so yeah, I wear glass everywhere, so it wouldn't be me if I didn't have glass on the show.
Excellent.
Well, I was gonna
Nice.
Inquire. So, Gina, you've been wearing it. Jason, have you been wearing it out and about? Like, do you use it or?
I use it for moments. Yes.
For
don't.
moments.
Yes. If I know that I'm going somewhere that I think is going to be cool,
Is the
then
baby
I
being cute, going, "Oh, I gotta put my glass
sometimes
on"?
actually, yes, probably more often than not, it's baby related. To be quite honest, and it's like, you know what? It's the thing that, like, you know, no one else is going to really find that interesting than me and maybe my wife. But it's like, I'm feeding my baby right now, and she's never going to be this young again. So I'm going to put on glass and remember what it was like to feed her at this age. Things like that. Sappy things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
I don't share a lot from glass. Like if you look at Google Plus, like you won't see that. I haven't shared a lot, but I mostly, take pictures of the baby and as just kind of a personal thing. Like, oh, I'm going to, exactly that I'm feeding her. She's never going to make this face when you give her avocado again. Let me get this on video, you know?
You know what?
Which everyone else would find dead boring.
Yeah, I have two little kids, and I absolutely love glass for that, you know, because when they do something cute, by the time you pull a phone out of your pocket, you know, to take a picture, they're done. They're not going to do it again. So the fact that I can hands-free instantly take a picture of my son or my daughter doing something cute, you know, for moments, it's great. I love it.
Absolutely.
If only Google had known. If they'd given me a pair, I would have worn it around like Derek's doing.
You'd be an evangelist.
If someone gets me a pair of glass, I'll wear it for a week straight.
You know what's going to happen, Rob? They're going to come out with the next iteration, and it's going to be like even awesomer, and you're going to be the one on the show that has the new pair of glasses.
This is going to happen. Yeah, there you go. So.
Well, so this week we don't have a whole lot of glass news. In fact, I don't think there is any in the lineup. But we have a lot of other stuff to discuss. The story of Cyanogen Incorporated. This is very interesting. Nokia's Android ambitions, if you can believe it. BlackBerry's BBM not launch. I think they expected to launch, and wow.
The opposite of launching, in fact.
Yes, exactly. iMessage's sketchy entrance into the Android fold, and that's a pretty important story, and more. But before we get into news, just thought we should call out that yesterday was the T-Mobile G1's 5th birthday.
I remember it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that your first?
No, G1 was my first. I did not get it on day one. I actually waited until my buddy Rob had gotten it, and we went and had drinks, and we had drinks in San Francisco, downtown, like Market and 4th Street or whatever, and he showed it to me. I played with it, and then I went from the bar direct to the T-Mobile store and bought the phone. Mm-hmm. So that's how I remember the G1. It was maybe a week after launch. So. And
Derek, were you ever a G1 rocker?
You know, I was not, and I wanted to be, but I live in an area that doesn't have a whole lot of GSM service, so I'm in Verizon territory. I couldn't take advantage of it, even though I wanted to.
Yeah, understood.
But I still celebrated yesterday, though.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I switched from Verizon to T-Mobile for the G1. Like, I was a Verizon user going back to like '98, and G1 came on. I'm like, I'm out. And so I didn't.
I'm in on this Google phone thing.
Yeah, exactly. I got a good feeling about this.
Yeah, it felt like something special at the time. I owned the G1, but not on day one. I didn't get it day one day it launched, but I think it was even a couple of months after it launched. But it just felt like this is the beginning of something. I was just super skeptical, and I thought it was kind of ugly. It was so chunky. That keyboard was terrible. Like Android, it was it donut or cupcake? I think it was cupcake. It was 1.6, right?
It was cupcake, yeah.
Oh, so bad. I mean, we didn't realize how bad it was, but I mean, I guess compared to the iPhone, I mean, in my opinion, it was pretty ugly or whatever. But it just felt like something is going on here. And I think I wound up actually buying one from a friend of mine who had an extra for some reason and wanted to sell it, so I wound up just buying from him. But yeah, I had every sort of Nexus since then. But yeah, the G1 has a special place. The G1 and the Nexus One have like very special sort of places in my Android device heart.
I love the Nexus One, but the G1, you talk about it being chunky. I went from an HTC Windows Mobile phone to the G1 that had a slide-out keyboard. Do you remember those black HTCs with the nub antenna? Like it was like maybe that thick. It was like super thick. So when I got the G1, I'm like, this phone is thin. So it was definitely
this is the future.
Yeah, it was a moment. I mean, Windows Mobile, I just hated it. It was awful. So anyway, but all right.
But it also not only was it chunky, it had that bend at the bottom.
Yeah,
the
bendy chin.
The bendy trim.
The little roller ball. The roller ball actually.
The roller ball was cool.
Terrible.
The Nexus One had the roller ball too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
True.
Awesome. Well,
Memories.
There we go. We just celebrated a little bit more. 5th anniversary. Yay.
Happy birthday.
5th birthday.
5 years is
not
bad.
Hey.
5 years.
Hey, we've come a long way in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing
It's like
how
so
far they've
short
come in 5
and
years.
so long.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's see how we can tackle this. Let's dive right into the news. And I couldn't help but notice today's top story it's a recurring theme that we seem to get on the show. It's all of this drama. I put the call out to the awesome community, and Zach Holder answered my call.
Oh, wow.
Oh, just so much drama in the Android world these days. Oh no. Forget that second thing you saw there. That's nothing. Just turn away. Okay,
wow. So much drama in the Android world.
So much drama.
Zach.
That's awesome, Zach, by the way. Super thumbs up.
That's lonely.geek in the chat room. Thank you. Seriously, awesome.
Good job, lonely.geek.
So let's see how we can kind of pick this apart, because a lot of stuff has happened with CyanogenMod. And feel free to interrupt me, because there's a little bit of stuff here to read.
This is we're renaming the show. This all about a CyanogenMod.
Yeah, AAC.
And I blew the punchline again.
Yeah, you just
dang it.
Planned jokes don't go over so well. Anyway. Except when they're roll-ins that can be pre-produced. Anyways, CyanogenMod, which obviously is a community-based open source behemoth of Android, leveled up. They became Cyanogen Incorporated. They got $7 million in funding. They say their goals are community involvement, security, features users need, in air quotes, no junk, constant updates, and for it to be available on everything to everyone. They've already rolled out a number of services in the past: CM Account, Privacy Guard, Voice Plus. These are the kind of things that I imagine you can expect more of from CyanogenMod going forward. They're also promising an easy install by using a one-click installer for Windows and Mac. Linux if there's demand. And that's, I think, very essential for this if they have, ambitions of being much more than just an offshoot kind of ROM for enthusiasts. The install needs to happen a little bit easier for the mass public. Having root is not a requirement, as the installer can actually manage all that heavy lifting through command line tools like ADB and Fastboot. And they're seeking Google certification. That can actually be kind of difficult in this situation because the Google Apps package is actually closed source. Android OS, the open source project, all that stuff is open, but the apps like navigation and Google Plus and Play Store even are closed source. So your device needs to be Google certified to have that. And right now, CyanogenMod is not.
Right, but that's the only way they're going to be able to do it. I mean,
Right, they're going to have to do things that enable that.
Yeah, this becomes a necessary step in that regard.
Koch said of the certification, becoming a legitimate business entity and partnering with an OEM are actually the first steps to licensing Google Services Framework. So he seems to think that this is something that will come relatively soon rather than later. And I think the drama kind of comes in when it comes down to the community aspect of this. And this is, I think, the really interesting discussion to be had. Very mixed feelings about how CyanogenMod was community-driven. Now it's turning into a commercial entity. Folks feel like their hard work for something that they believe in and that they've actually given a lot of their time and effort into is now being profited on and turned into something very different. Maybe they're not getting a cut. Maybe they're not getting credit. You take Focal, for example, which is now actually a standalone app in the Play Store, but we'll get to why. The developer of Focal, which is kind of a camera replacement for CyanogenMod, I think it's Guillaume. I'm going to pronounce his name. Guillaume Lesniak basically said in Google Plus in a very detailed post that the CyanogenMod team pulled the rug out from under him and also the entire community of developers that added apps and functionality to CyanogenMod. And I don't know, it just kind of seems like a very sticky situation when you're talking about this group of developers. And we're talking hundreds of people have contributed code to this over the years. Yeah. And now suddenly you've got a group of 15 or so people that have splintered it out and say, you know what, we're here, we're going to start making money on this somehow eventually. Right off the top, Derek, what are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, let's take a look at Linux here. Let's take a look at Linux here from what they've been doing for years. Linux, is a open source platform where people all over the world, thousands of people, a lot more than contribute to CyanogenMod, a lot more people contribute to Linux, and yet there's paid versions of Linux. There's Red Hat, there's SUSE, and many other that are paid versions, and they all use the open source, Linux kernel. So it's not like this is something that's brand new and unheard of. I mean, this happens every day in the open source world. So I don't think that's that much of a big deal. But what a lot of people need to realize is that people that are CyanogenMod fans, such as myself, people that love, the flash ROMs and so forth, it's kind of a pain in the butt to install CyanogenMod. We spend hundreds of dollars on this phone and we want to do something different. So now maybe we have to, break into the bootloader. We have to root it and basically hack our device to then run something else that may even be more secure than what you were running at that time. So there's a lot of legwork you have to do. And they're basically saying, that's silly. We're going to make the install process easier for you. And we're even going to sell it on a phone so you don't even have to worry about installing it. So I feel for the developers that put a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears into this, and now they're feeling they're not going to get anything out of it. But they can always say, hey, look what I contributed to. I helped this company eventually become awesome and, and get funding. They can look at it that way and try to spin, a positive note on it. It doesn't all have to be doom and gloom.
Well, and the point, Derek, that you made about Linux was exactly what I was going to say. But if you remember, I don't know if you actually remember back to what was it, like 97, 98, 99, when Red Hat emerged and they were going to start selling commercial versions, the same thing happened. Like developers freaked out, and it was the same, it's a community and it should be open source and this is blah blah. Everybody is so first to scream sellout, and so first to scream, to think there's shenanigans going on, that they don't realize that they don't see the forest for the trees, that the benefits might outweigh that momentary feeling of ickiness around money and feeling a sellouty, in that you make a phone that's got CyanogenMod on it, then they can grow that much more. And then you factor into that, if they're a legitimate business and they're using a camera app, they can pay a license fee to that developer and maybe get some money for his work as opposed to just contributing it to the open sourceness.
You can give back to the community.
Exactly.
Once you make money, then you can give back. There's all sorts of ways for CyanogenMod to eventually give back once they become profitable. It's not. I really don't think they're going to take the money and run. They understand where they came from.
Yeah, particularly because it is community driven, right? Yeah. And they're judged by their community. So if they end up acting against that, then they're really only hurting themselves. Gina, what do you think?
They don't want to bite the hand that feeds them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think people chafe when I think that even people inside the open source communities start to sort of confuse the free as in speech versus free as in beer thing. I think that there's some chafing when something that was sort of this renegade hacker thing that happened on the weekends that everyone was sort of volunteering, just for the fun of it together, changes into a few key people got millions of dollars of venture capital and are opening up an office and and making kind of the startup bet. I mean, I think I can see how volunteer developers would have maybe feel a little uncomfortable with that. But I think that anyone who's who's followed big open source projects, and I think Linux is a great example, knows that there can be huge advantages of an established commercial entity leading an open source project. We see that with Google and Android as well. I love that Cyanogen is going to become sort of a legit consumer product, which it sounds like is the company's goal. And just because there's a company and there's money invested into the development of the project doesn't mean that any of the contributors lose their ownership of the open source license goes away. And it doesn't mean that someone else couldn't start a company to maintain CyanogenMod just as well. I mean, here's the thing. All the leaders of the open source project are in the company now, right? And here's the thing. You contribute your time, your free time to an open source project if you trust the leadership and if you trust in the vision.
Sure.
This just means all those leaders are now inside this commercial entity, but this just means that they get to spend they get to do this full time, which just opens up so much potential. I mean, Steve Kondak, he working at Samsung there for a while. He had like a day job. And, this just means that Cyanogen's going to get better, faster, and will have resources, and there are going to be job opportunities for volunteer contributors, and there's going to be many more users. So I think that forest for the trees thing, not seeing the forest for the trees is a really good point. I think that this can be a really good thing depending on how these guys run the company. And the fact is, if they run the company as effectively as they've run the open source project, this is great for everyone. But I said this on This Week in Google. My first piece of advice to them: change the name.
Yes.
Really?
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
I'm not sure if I understand. I understand the reasoning behind saying that, because the name in and of itself doesn't really mean a whole lot to people who don't follow this. But again, we're going back to the whole community kind of the thing that they've built up in the community. Doesn't changing the name along with becoming an incorporated, like a corporation, kind of end up blurring that line. That perception gets a little bit blurrier.
But what's an HTC? What's a Motorola? And other companies that put out devices. It's a name. And they already have a following on the name. I think they should keep it.
A name is kind of weird until it's not anymore. The Nintendo Wii sounded really weird, and mind you, it still kind of does. It does, but it's not. But it doesn't make me like double take when I hear it anymore. I might not like it,
Wii U,
but yes, okay, all right, they're funny. But I might not like it, but I'm still not entirely hung up on it. I still do see that the Wii is something, and it's not just a name.
Dan in the chat room said it. Drop the mod. Cyanogen.
And that's kind of what they've done here, right? Cyanogen Incorporated.
Right,
so they have at least in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I think if you're gonna climb the hill of consumer adoption and especially getting involved in products and stuff like that, the name, you're right. I mean, Derek, I think you're right that it's a name, they have a following, go with it. You're kind of stuck with it. Trust me, as someone who ran a website for over 12 years with one of the worst names ever, when you're stuck with it, you just got to ride that momentum.
Yeah, right.
But if you have an opportunity to make something that can go the distance, then you really got to consider that. Maybe they have some sort of consumer offshoot, and the company remains Cyanogen, but then they come out with C something or C Droid or something. I don't know.
Right.
So,
Yeah, like the open source project remains Cyanogen, but the product that they ship to consumer, it just doesn't seem like a consumer friendly name to me. And if you look at two of the greatest open source, modern open source projects that are happening right now, which are sponsored by a big company, Chrome and Android, both have extremely strong branding, great names, awesome logos. I mean, think about the Android robot and how much mileage we've just gotten out of the little robot that waves on the blog. I mean, the branding around Android is incredible, and I think that's part of what makes it a beloved brand. And I think same thing with Chrome. You see it in the Chrome commercials, and I think one of the things that you get from having a commercial entity that can do things like hire marketing people and hire people who are about talking to customers versus just developers talking to one another is that you can get a good name, you can get a good logo, and you can get sort of you can build a consumer friendly brand. I just don't think it's that consumer friendly a brand. I don't think that Cyanogen even does a good job of explaining what the heck it is, and these are things that I want to see them do as a company, make themselves actually human friendly, which sounds like is their goal.
Sure.
I'd say right now in the beginning they're more along the lines of pleasing people that know about them, but eventually you would assume they want to become more consumer friendly to take on non-geeks and non-techies, everyday average day customers. So I would assume that would come now that they have a marketing budget or an advertising budget in the future.
Absolutely.
Because we know those marketing guys make everything better.
They don't muck it up ever at all.
Ever. Never. Next thing you know, we're going to be at Radio City Music Hall with a whole big CyanogenMod in real life. It's like, I can use the Cyanogen camera to take pictures of the pool boy.
Well, hello, Steve. Hi, Coach. Check this out. All right. Cool. We did that.
All right. So we made the drama. Have we made it through all the drama?
Yes. So we made it. And the commercial break.
Now we've got I love getting the new bumpers. I like it. Well, so with all this news of CyanogenMod and everything that's going on, you think that Google would be pretty fast and furious with their updates? And yeah, not so much. We got a little, possibly a leak peek at Android 4.4 KitKat. In the form of a screenshot with the notification bar and status bar.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but
but we'll take it. And you'll notice the key differences are that this status bar features, if you scroll down a little more, both blue and gray icons, as well as that's just gray. That's the comparison one. I'm sorry.
Right.
But has the key lime pie debug icon as opposed to the jelly bean one.
Right.
So
it's a cute little thing.
Very interesting. But
very interesting.
The thing
it's
is
hardly
that
anything.
It's hardly
but
anything.
It's something. That's the point.
And the point is that they are starting to release screenshots and things like that. So clearly they're using it inside Google. So it's just a matter of time before we see more. So there you go.
Yeah. This is season for the leaks. We're gonna see these.
It's just enough to make me drool as a big Android fanboy. I saw that the drool was starting to, my mouth was wide open. And so any little thing like that to keep us on our toes over the next few weeks until we get something concrete. I love it.
Yeah, you just want to aspire for something more.
Exactly.
By the way, before we continue on, I totally pimped the name of Zach who did the open. Robert Young is the guy who did the close on all my Android drama. I didn't want to forget giving him a plug.
The music was a good touch. That was great.
Gina, what do we have up next here?
The Android device manager has been updated. You probably remember, I think we covered it on the show. It kind of rolled out quietly about a month ago, but it got an update that lets you ring your device, remote wipe your device, or lock your device from the web. So I really think everybody should just enable this right now. On your device, if you go into settings, security, device administrators, you turn on the Android device manager. And what that lets you do is you can then go on the web. If you lose your phone or you think it's been stolen, you go to the web, google.com/android/device manager, and it'll locate your phone. It'll show you where your phone exists on the map. And from there, you can ring your phone, and it's a really obnoxious, loud ring that happens whether or not you've got your sound turned off.
Oh, excellent.
You can remote wipe your device, just erase it all, or you can lock your device. So this is really, really handy. Turn this on. Everybody should turn this on. I feel like this should kind of be on by default, but really, I guess it couldn't because Google's kind of tracking your location. But this is the moment that you think your phone's been stolen, you want to be able to locate it and ring it. And it's really handy if it's like stuck in the couch cushions too. If you see it on the map and you're like, it's home, it's in my house, I just don't know where. The ring is really loud and obnoxious. I don't know if you have it enabled there, Jason or Ron, if you guys could do the ring.
I literally just enabled it.
How
do you do the ring?
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
All right, hang on.
Yeah, it'll ring for 5 minutes or until you turn it off, and it's really annoying and loud.
Let's totally do it. Let's totally do it.
Yeah, and you got to turn it off with the power button.
Here we go. Oh yes, you had me at annoying. All right, hang on.
There it is.
Hey, you ready?
Sorry, mine's already doing it, Ron.
Why do
you steal my thunder?
Why are you so awesome, Chad?
Do it.
OMG.
But you can see that it pinpointed the exact location of where we are at Twit. And in hitting ring, it happens basically immediately. I hit it right then, and there it goes.
And it doesn't sound.
Oh,
That's annoying.
turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad that the map doesn't tie into the indoor mapping that Google Maps has, so it can show you the couch cushion. Exactly. And the phone underneath the couch cushion.
No, be real. No, it's,
what the hell?
this is dangerous. You know why? This is super dangerous because right now I can lock the phone or erase it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have like roommates that you don't get along with and they can get on your
Roommates
computer.
that know your Google password.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm
They have to
logged
sign- they
in.
have
I
to
just
sign
open
into
it.
your account.
I opened a new tab.
But
though.
when you open it, does it ask you for the password again, regardless of if you're logged in or not?
It didn't.
Probably should do that on something like that.
Yep.
Because some of their services, even if you're logged in,
But the
still
problem,
ask you
but
for the password.
the problem with that is I have two-step verification on, and so then it would send a text message to the phone.
And my brain just exploded.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. That's cool though. I agree. It's turned on. I'm keeping it on. So
Very, very cool stuff. Hey, we needed a reason to do this. Let's take a look at some breaking news.
this is the best show ever this week. I love it.
I know we're gonna get emails from people that are like, "Man, stop it with the roll-ins," but
No,
they're just
no,
fun.
more.
They're fun. They're fun. Well, it's okay. So this broke shortly before the show started.
I saw
and
this.
It's an interesting discussion, I think. Basically, Plants vs. Zombies 2 has been teased endlessly for Android and for iOS. Early summer, then summer, and then sometime this fall. So it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. Basically, what we're finding is that an internal EA town hall meeting, there were multiple sources that basically said during that meeting, information was told that said that Apple gave PopCap, or I guess PopCap via EA, a bunch of money to delay the Android version.
Not surprised.
So that and my question was, do you think this just kind of happens and we normally don't notice
This
or
is
know about it?
This is the problem with This is the problem with blogging, and like we're all bloggers. We've all done stuff like that. This is twisting words to try to tell a different story.
Right.
What Apple did was they paid PopCap for an exclusive. You know, like we see games release on PlayStation only before they're released on Xbox 360, or we see, things get released on Amazon or Netflix before they're released anywhere else. It's an exclusive release. Did they pay to keep it off of Android? Technically, yes, but I don't know if that was
did
the...
they? Yeah, or did they? Apple
Yeah.
has since actually denied the statement
Well, there you
is
go.
true, saying that there wasn't actually any money exchanging hands.
Well, and now we're
But they
in
wouldn't
the Apple
elaborate.
gray area. Now we're
Yeah,
in the Apple
exactly.
gray. We'll market it. We'll do there are things that get negotiated for exclusives. Yeah, I mean, does it suck? It absolutely sucks. It's not it's not fair, but that's competition. So
So I want to know how
like
often
the
do
run.
these exclusives happen that we don't know about?
Yeah,
how
exactly.
many times has this happened in the past, and is it going to continue to happen?
Well,
Yep.
this is what happened with Nike, right? I mean, this is why Nike Plus is iPhone only, right? Because of
Right.
Apple and Nike's partnership.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
So-
but that also had kind of like a hardware tie into it as well.
right. Integration and all that.
That may have been a further reason for something like that. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't suck for anybody except users, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
suck for anybody except Android users,
Yeah,
right?
the Android users end up losing more than anybody.
Right. PopCap presumably makes up in users, right? Because of Apple's marketing or their money or whatever they do. Apple gets to say that Android's slow to get, really important apps like Plants vs. Zombies, and Android users don't get access to the app. I mean, it kind of stinks.
It's competition. It's capitalism.
Yep.
So, oh well.
All right. Well,
Speaking of capitalism,
yeah. Pause.
Good segue.
All right, it's time to thank our first sponsor of today's episode, 99 Designs. Love 99 Designs. They've been with us for a few months now, and the services that 99 Designs offers are just awesome. If you need graphic designs for whatever you happen to be doing, is it clothing? Is it a website? Is it, pretty much anything, an app? We'll talk about that in a second. 99 Designs is a great way for you to be contacted with designers that know what they're doing. They connect people looking for great graphic design with their community of more than 225,000 graphic designers from all over the world. So if you need a logo, mobile app, business card, t-shirt, any kind of graphic design, you're going to find the right designer for your project at 99 Designs. So here's how it works. You tell 99 Designs what you need, what you're looking for, what your project is all about, and give them any specifics that you're looking for in your graphic needs. And dozens of designers will take that, and they're going to submit designs created just for you based on that information, based on exactly what you're looking for. You're commissioning all these people to do this work, and essentially, in the beginning, they're doing it, just hoping that their design is the one that you choose. You're going to give them feedback to help them actually refine their designs and make it more along the lines of what you're looking for. And then you're going to select and pay for your favorite from all of those options. It's a really easy way to just commission a lot of different ideas and get just this huge influx of ideas to choose from. And when you're looking for graphic designs or pretty much anything creatively, it's nice to have options. And that's what this is all about. If you are developing an Android app, as I had alluded just a few seconds ago, you can get anything from icons, buttons, to your entire mobile app. Just basically the entire design. If you don't know how to design a mobile app for your device, but you know what functionality you want it to have, the different kind of functions that it has, the sections that it has, all this kind of stuff, you put it together and let the designers do the hard work for you. And I mean, there's just a ton of amazing app ideas that you can see if you go to the 99 Designs website. It's 99designs.com/mobile-app-design. And you can check it out yourself and just see what a lot of other designers have come up with for different app ideas. So just a great service. You can actually start your next graphic design project for as low as $199. All you have to do is visit 99designs.com/AAA and get a $99 power pack of services for free. Now that power pack gives you more designer time and attention. 99 Designs will bold, highlight, and feature your design project in 99 Designs Marketplace, and you'll get nearly twice as many designs. So that's all you got to do. Visit 99designs.com/AAA and check out what 99 Designs can do for you and your project. And we thank 99 Designs for their support, their continued support of All About Android and the Twit Network. Thank you. Now,
Let's do some hardware.
Let's do some hardware.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get there.
We're going to do this hardware. Ready to do this hardware? All right. So Chinese manufacturer Oppo sounds like one of the Marx brothers. They've been teasing this new phone for a while, and they finally announced the Oppo N1. And this is very interesting.
Yes,
it's a 5.9-inch full HD IPS display. All right. So it's very much a phablet, large camera. It's got a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon, 2 gig of RAM, there's 16 and 32 gig models, no SD card slot. It's running Android 4.2. Interestingly enough, it's got a camera that's a 13 megapixel camera that rotates 206 degrees so that it's front and back facing.
So no more complaining that your front facing camera is always way worse than your rear facing camera.
Exactly.
You just rotate it around.
Yeah. This is a great fact. The swivel is rated for 100,000 uses. So that's at least 40 times per day for 7 years.
Because you'll totally have your device for 7 years.
Because you're totally going to swivel it 40 times a day.
Which basically means it won't fail.
It will never fail. Yeah, exactly.
So they say.
The back plate below the camera is actually touch sensitive, so that gestures can actually manipulate the phone and do things like play the next song, browse the web, or you can set custom actions, which is a really neat innovation. Which is
a little bit more of that on the back.
Yeah,
on the back side.
So it's going to be $571 for an October release to China. The China marketplace. But what's interesting is a little, staying with our theme today, Oppo announced a partnership with Cyanogen. And they gave no further details other than the partnership, but the N1 apparently will be able to run Cyanogen on it. So That's interesting. You remember Cyanogen saying that in order to become Google certified, they needed to team with OEMs?
Oh, right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Oppo Marks is going to work with them. So
Nice. Cyanogen's actually going to ship. It's going to ship with CyanogenMod on it. It's the default operating system.
Yep.
It looks like.
For the international version, we'll have the option to install CyanogenMod from the stock recovery. You won't have to put a custom recovery on it. The stock recovery can flash CyanogenMod, but there is a limited release that will have the ability to come with CyanogenMod pre-installed. Not all versions will, but it is a limited release.
Right. Interesting.
Gotcha.
Wow, where do you start on this one? So rotating camera first. What do you think of the? I mean, that's different.
At least it's not going to break, so that's good. Yeah, I mean that's neat. I think the rotating camera and the backplate touch things and the O-click and all this sort of stuff is neat. These are neat innovations. This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I dig it. It's huge. 5.9 inches is a huge phone. So let's not forget that too.
I think the back that you can touch is neat. I mean, that's something that is useful when most likely a lot of people would use it every day. But I really think that the rotating camera just seems kind of gimmicky. I mean, obviously you have to use it because there is no front-facing camera if you want to use to do a selfie or a video chat or something. But it just, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me for some reason. I mean, how's it going to work in a case if people want to use cases, for example? I don't know. Maybe I need to see it and play with it to believe it. But right now, it just seems it doesn't sit right with me.
Although having the ability to take a 13 megapixel shot of your face while you're video conferencing with somebody, not that you need 13 megapixels for that, but it would be better than the pretty crappy resolution we're used to on video conferencing. But yeah, I agree. It's totally feels a little gimmicky. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just different from what you're used to. And I'd love to see it in person before I make an entire judgment of it.
Agreed.
But yeah, totally. And then CyanogenMod coming kind of, we kind of see the first iteration of what their plan is. I imagine we're going to see more of this kind of stuff. Is Oppo pretty much entirely I don't feel like I've seen many Oppo devices in the US, or at least not passing through the studio here. Do they have much of a US presence at all?
They do not have a US presence. They don't have any devices that are carried by US carriers. So anybody that runs one here in the US has to buy the international version and get it shipped over here and run it. I mean, some people do. A lot of people love the Find 5. A lot of people love Oppo hardware. It's just they just haven't been able to penetrate the US market yet. I'm gonna check the specs. It's not LTE though, is it?
No,
I mean it's it's not.
Right.
It's for the Chinese market.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that's another thing to consider. It's curious. I mean, I don't see everybody getting up in arms at Cyanogen working with the Chinese. They're all upset about them. Think about that.
It's interesting that the flippy thing actually kind of sticks out. Like when it's forward facing, it sticks out. It doesn't align. The camera doesn't align with the top bevel, of the phone. But when it's facing back, so facing back is its natural position. That makes a lot of sense. I very rarely use the front facing camera, not only because it's crappy, but also just because I just don't use it as much.
Right.
I don't do a whole lot of video conferencing with the phone, which is not true for everyone. But I tend toward agreeing with Derek, but I kind of would like to try it. Although the phone's a little too big.
It's enormous.
It's a nice phone, though. I would say the design of it actually looks pretty.
It also has the double LED flash, and one of those looks tungsten colored, just like the iPhone 5S. And it was touting up here a better flash, reinvented flash technology. So I think that it does the same 5S feature.
Oh no, it went away.
Yeah, it went away. One funny thing is if you Google search for Oppo, the first thing that comes up is Oppo Digital, and it looks like only DVD players. And
they don't even have anything.
I was having a hard time finding their website. If you go to en.oppo.com, then that's where their actual website is.
Is that a different company?
I think it's the same company. I just think Oppo Digital may be their DVD branch.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe they're more known for that.
So if you want to go check out more,
I mean, if Oppo does have more international kind of plans, it could be an interesting couple of years coming forward, right? Like the Xiaomi devices potentially reaching into international lands, coming here to the States, maybe potentially the Oppo devices and stuff. More competition, not a bad thing.
I like that O-Touch thing, by the way, that we were just saying that like that. I mean, that's really cool because I find, you're holding the phone and, like you've got a finger here that's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And so being able to go next song or go, scroll or whatever, I would totally do that. Yeah. So.
Especially with scrolling if you're reading, right? Because your finger doesn't get in the way, right? You can see the entire screen. It's interesting.
I like that better than the Samsung creepy eye tracking thing.
Yeah.
All right. What do we have next, Gina?
We've got a few bits of Moto X news, 3 bits of Moto X news. First, we got a new developer edition for Verizon and GSM networks. That's now selling for $650 unsubsidized. This means the device has an unlocked bootloader and a storage boost to 32 gigabytes. No Moto Maker customization, however. And this is from Motorola. This is on the Motorola site. You can buy the developer edition, not the Play Store. So Moto X isn't in the Play Store yet, I guess, question mark. Second bit of news, scrappy upstart cellular provider Republic Wireless has the Moto X for $299 unsubsidized without a 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, without a 2-year service contract. This MVNO, that's a mobile virtual network operator, uses the Sprint network and also uses Wi-Fi networks to carry service to its phones. So it's a great price without a contract. You might have a hard time getting the data or getting the as good a service maybe as you'd get on a with a contract or for a higher price. But yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
No kidding. That's kind of like the price range that I think in the rumor territory before Moto X was official, people were expecting, or hoping for something like that to rival the Nexus 4 pricing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that is a sweet spot.
Oh, yes, we did.
Oh, yes, we did. We did put that phone in the back pocket like Ron does with his tablets.
I haven't put a tablet in my back pocket in a while, by the way.
You need to get a new tablet.
I need to get a new tablet, and we need a bumper. Once we have a bumper about tablets in the back pocket, then I'll do that.
We'll work on that.
Finally, last bit of Moto X news, new software is rolling out, starting with the Sprint version of the Moto X that addresses one of the bigger faults with according to those who use it. Camera performance has been improved a number of ways, including better auto white balance and color accuracy, improved outdoor and backlit exposure, and reduced noise in low light. And so you can see some of the comparisons in this Droid Life article that
it looks pretty good.
That Chad has up there. Yeah, pretty good. Nice improvements.
Better contrast, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be one of the main complaints I hear about the Moto X is, oh yeah, I love my Moto X, is great, but man, the camera sucks. So hopefully this makes it a little bit better.
There's been some complaints about call quality.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently, I have a Moto X. I actually haven't experienced it. My wife has a Moto X. She hasn't experienced it, but I have a few other friends that do have one that had, I guess it gets choppy on the other end. If there's any type of like the noise cancellation microphones do something weird on your end, and it gets real choppy for the person on the opposite end. But that was also in the bug fix as well. So hopefully that comes out to other networks too in the near future.
Awesome. Are you liking your Moto X?
I wrote a big review on it, and the short version of that is yes. I absolutely love it. It's the best Android phone I've used to date, and me as a normal person that loves to root and ROM, and I have to run custom, software on my phone. I can't see myself doing that anytime in the near future. This phone has everything I want, and it just works. So and stock Android. I don't need to screw with it to get stock Android. I love it.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a big endorsement.
Yeah,
cool.
It really is. Awesome. Well, how about a Nokia Android phone? So let me.
That's great.
I'll just lob that grenade out of it.
Wait, where was the lead up to that punchline? I missed.
The lead up was that punchline. Nokia obviously was recently sold to Microsoft, or at least that's kind of going through right now. What's interesting to Android enthusiasts is that before the sale took place, Nokia was working on cheap Android phones. They codenamed it Mountain View, a backup plan if Windows Phone had failed.
Wait, what was it codenamed?
Mountain View.
The city where Google's headquartered?
Something like that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Weird, huh? A juicy nugget of rumory info from Chinese site C Technology, which apparently is a source with a decent track record. I can't speak for that myself, but according to this article, that's what they say. States that the device was running a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 8225Q chip and was in advanced R&D stages. Foxconn had already manufactured 10,000 prototypes.
At what point does a prototype no longer be a prototype?
Yeah, right. 10,000.
When they've made 10,000 of them.
10,000
That's a lot of prototypes.
Yeah.
Yes, we've decided this last one is the official.
I feel like prototype 5, 10, you know, hey, we tinkered the button and we changed the color, whatever. Here's 10,000. Like, it's just.
You know what? That's why Nokia makes quality devices. They don't prototype 5 devices. They prototype 10,000 of them.
They iterate and iterate and iterate and iterate
until they're bought by Microsoft.
Oh, jeez. That's when the iteration stops.
Well, development supposedly has continued, even in the wake of the sale to Microsoft. This because Nokia obviously wants to make sure that the deal goes through and will be shareholder approved in November. So it's entirely unlikely, but possible. So you're saying there's a chance.
Never know.
There might be a world with a Nokia Android device. I don't know. I've never really had a Nokia device, so I'm not in this world of I've got to have it. But there are fans out there who would really love to see this.
Super fans of Nokia. Yeah. Like, so I remember back in the day, Nokia was the phone. It was like, remember the little phone they had and all that, the candy bar phones, and then they had the
running Symbian though.
Running Symbian.
Right?
Yeah. This is before we knew better, Gino. Let's not get too crazy. All right, yeah. But
if there's 10,000 of these prototypes out there, maybe we'll get lucky and somebody will put one on eBay. You know, like who knows? There's bound to be something happen if there's that many of them out there.
There we go.
Yeah, it's curious.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. I'm curious to see what that would look like.
Yeah, me too.
Android on a Nokia.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick video mail here. Josh Anderson wanted to just point out an app that he's really liking.
Hey, AAA, got another great app for you guys to review. It's called Nextdoor. It's been such a big hit in my neighborhood that we're actually doing a block party next week because of it. It is a community app for your neighborhood where they can come to either on the website, on their Android phone or iOS phone. It's where they can post comments, recommendations for repair people or anything, garage sales, things like that. Check it out. Tell me what you think. I think it'll be a big help with a lot of people. Love the show. Keep it up.
Nextdoor is a pretty cool, interesting social network, and it's totally localized social network for neighborhoods.
And I think that's the great example, and that shows what happens is that when you get a lot of people using it, then you see the value.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, like if you download an app and you're by yourself, and nobody's there to use it, it's not going to have any value for it. But if you get your whole neighborhood doing it, you can organize a block party.
And I think it's starting to gain momentum. When I moved to Petaluma almost 2 years ago now, it's kind of crazy to think about that. There was a mailing list for our location. It was a Google maintained mailing list, but it was incredibly active. Like everybody in this entire surrounding area took part in it. And then they moved to this thing called Nextdoor. And now, I mean, the activity, I actually have the app up if you want to show it real quick, Chad. I'll just show it off real quick. But I mean, basically, you know, this is the Nextdoor for my neighborhood, and there's just a lot of people on here doing that. You know, letting people know that, hey, you know, I'm looking for old fence boards to make vegetable beds. We've gotten racks for tomato for growing tomatoes.
Do you know Deb and Carol or?
I don't know if I know them based on their first names, but anyways, obviously it's the kind of thing that is great if there's the momentum and there's all the people that are actually participating in it. In my case, they totally are. And it's a great app. It's a pretty well-designed app. It follows a lot of the app design guidelines, and the notifications aren't annoying. And so it's pretty good. So Josh, thank you for calling everyone's attention to Nextdoor. I think eventually I probably would have brought it into the arena, but you got it this time. So thank you,
Fan
Josh.
submitted arena. Well done. Yeah, and I like the strategic placement of his Chromebook with the big Chrome sticker in the background. It was good video. Well done.
Well done.
Positive. All right, let's take a break and thank one of our sponsors. We want to thank Ting for supporting this episode of All About Android. And Ting has been a long-time sponsor of All About Android and the Twit Network. And you might be asking yourself, what is Ting? Well, Ting is a no BS mobile service. They're an MVNO reseller of cell service. They're on the nationwide Sprint network. And what makes them different is that they've got no contracts or early termination fees. They're truly and completely contract-free. No early termination fees or any other BS with your contract or your agreement with them. You use what you want to use. They've got no bundling or ride-along services. You could choose from their extra small through extra large service levels for voice minutes, text messages, and megabytes of data, all billed separately. They've got no overage charges or penalties. If you use more than you thought you would, you just pay for what you used. They've got no add-on charges, so voicemail, caller ID, tethering, hotspot, three-way calling, call forwarding, and all other features are all part of the service, no add-on charges. You get no mysterious line items on your bill. Ting just charges you for what you used plus whatever taxes they're legally required to collect. No hidden charges or recovery fees or any other BS. Unlimited devices all on one plan. You can have as many devices as you want and using a shared pool minutes, messages, and megabytes. Each device on a plan just costs a flat $6 per month. You also get a powerful online control panel where you can take control of your account, your usage, and your bills all in one place. And if you need some help, they've got no-hold customer support. You can call them anytime at 1-855-TING-FDW, anytime between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and a real person will pick up the phone. If you're outside of the customer service hours or you don't want to talk to anybody, that's fine. They've got amazing online support. So just go to help.ting.com where they've got active customer forums and a simple and powerful help ticketing system along with video tutorials, video startup guides, and much more. So this is how it works. I'm going to break it down for you as simple as possible. First, you purchase your mobile device from Ting, which you'll get in 2 to 5 business days. Then you activate your device and have the option to select a new phone number, or you can port your existing one. Ting will break your rates out by minutes, text messages, and megabytes, and bill you at the end of the month for what you used. That's it. So simple. So visit Ting today at allaboutandroid.ting.com, and you can save money and better manage your mobile phone using Ting. Check out their savings calculator and see how much you or your company can save. And as a special bonus for All About Android viewers, you can save $25 on your first Ting device when you sign up. So once again, that's allaboutandroid.ting.com, and start saving today. And thank you, Ting, for your support.
Thank you, Ting. You're awesome.
Thanks, Ting.
Woo. Thanks, Ting. All right, let's get into apps.
BlackBerry has halted rollout of BBM for Android and iOS. BBM, which is BlackBerry Messenger, is another messaging service from another platform other than Android, but people seem to want it really badly. So much so that when a version of the upcoming BBM for Android got leaked online, it got more than 1.1 million active users in a few days. This is the leaked version. BlackBerry previously announced that the app would officially be released this last weekend, but now they're halting the rollout. Executive VP Andrew Brocking wrote in a blog post on the BlackBerry blog that the leak version has a glitch that created problems on the BBM servers, and now BlackBerry has to hold off the official release and scramble to block the leak version and tweak the system to get it back up and going. So the official BBM for Android and iOS will be released sometime soon. It did not happen this past weekend.
Man, BlackBerry just can't catch a break, can they?
They can.
Just not having a good week.
No, not having.
I mean, this is a good problem to have, that users are scrambling to get your app so bad that they download the leaked version. 1.1 million users in a few days. People love BBM. My teenage nephews use BBM. Like it's weird. It's weird from my perspective because I never had a BlackBerry and I've never gotten to BBM, but it's wildly popular. I hope BlackBerry can get their servers back up and running and do an official release soon.
I guess it's a better problem to have than the one they currently have. But no, you're right. People do love BBM. I mean, my sister and my brother-in-law and their friends were all on BBM until they switched to Android and iOS and start using WhatsApp and other things like that. So
WhatsApp and Hangouts now.
That 1.1 million is probably great. It probably would have been a lot more 2-3 years ago. So
that's true. Right.
Yeah,
it is probably a declining number.
Yep. So in that call or in that blog post that what was his name, that VP Android
Andrew Brocking.
Andrew Brocking, there we go, wrote, he said that the leaked version of the app had a very known issue that had, that basically amounted to just tons and tons of data traffic through the servers. And that's why they didn't release that version. I'm just thinking like, all right, so there's a troll on the inside that's like, all right, so this is a known issue. I'm releasing this APK to get everybody to topple this stuff because BlackBerry, you're going to have a bad day. That's I don't know what that means, but it's just interesting in the culmination of everything. And now suddenly,
just curious,
massive layoffs, which is separate, but in aggregate, adds onto the whole the whole situation.
Awkward around the BlackBerry cafeteria these days. That's all I'm saying. Everyone's kind of tiptoeing.
Feel bad for BlackBerry.
I don't.
Man,
they didn't change.
They were the kings of the world. Right,
They
right.
didn't change.
They were the kings of the world.
They were the kings of the world. They owned corporate. They owned, commercial, and they didn't change. How long did it take before they put out a phone that any of us were like, oh, that's a pretty decent phone? You know? Sorry.
Yeah. It's true.
Yep.
Evolve or die. Right?
Exactly.
Especially in technology.
Yeah.
Particularly in technology. Well, okay, so speaking of services that are kind of like holy grails on Android for some reason, iMessages has long been sought after on the Android platform, and it just hasn't been possible. Apple's really good at kind of how they manage the iMessage servers on the back end. And so developers haven't really been able to crack the code on how they get this running on Android. And I mean, we even get emails, semi-regularly that's like, is there any solution for getting iMessages on Android for whatever reason you might want to? That is, of course, until a developer by the name of Daniel Zweigert pushed iMessage chat to the Play Store earlier this month. People tested it. Sure enough, it tackles that big task of bringing iMessage into the Android world.
Oh, that's weird looking.
It does so. I know, right? Isn't it weird? Totally
weird.
has that iOS messaging look.
Not right.
It does so by reporting itself to the Apple iMessage server as a Mac Mini. However, and this is a huge asterisk to this, all data from Apple servers are routed to a server running in China. The app can also download and install code, or download and execute code in the background. It further analysis says pretty sketch.
Pretty sketch.
Also, Jason, the app that is running, or that does have its backend database server in China, stores all of your Apple account, your Apple username and Apple password on an open SQL server that is accessible by the world. So I wouldn't do it if I were you.
No. And
It's
I don't
pulled from the Play Store as well.
Yes, I don't even think you could at this point. The app has been pulled, as you say, Gina. Obviously, anyone who's installed it should A, uninstall, and B, reset your Apple password immediately. Be on the safe side. Okay, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that it had been discovered that they were storing that on a SQL server. That's new news to me. Why? But this is the question that I have. Why do we need iMessages? And
I don't want it.
Why do people
we have Hangouts? Why do we need it, right? Hangouts is already cross-platform and works on iOS and Android.
Right.
I'm a loyal WhatsApp user.
It's just inertia, right? Like people have iPhones, all their friends have iPhones, everybody uses iMessage. Their parents, their families, whatever, they're just locked into it because that's what everyone uses. It's just like switching a phone number. They don't want to go through the trouble of, because the problem with WhatsApp or Hangouts is that everybody else has to have that installed too, right? So it's hard. It's just hard. I think it's just inertia. I think it's, people just don't want to.
Yep.
I mean, the person who wrote in a couple episodes ago and said, hey, how do I want to switch to Android? I'm on iOS. How do I switch to Android? My only worry is iMessage. Everybody at work uses iMessage. We have this group chat and iMessage going on. And I can't do my job unless I can communicate with my coworkers the way that they all do, which is iMessage. We didn't really have a good answer for them. Mm-hmm. It just seems like the solution, everybody switches to Hangouts is just it's a hard one. It's not a good answer.
Okay, and pardon my ignorance because I've never had or owned an iOS device. But when you're in iMessage and you send a message to someone that's not, it's just a text message.
Just text. Yeah.
So why does it matter? You know what I mean? What do you get?
I think it's just the rich media, emoticons and images and videos,
emoji and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's desktop integration with Mac OS 10, so you get it on your desktop as well. It's the same reason why you'd use WhatsApp instead of text messaging. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's overrated. Lord knows I would love to not get the text message version where you get 4 responses or text for every person on the iMessage. I can always tell when I'm...
Or if someone on iOS sends you a picture and it doesn't come through, or it comes through as a video with a play.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's
so weird.
Drives me crazy.
Oh, man,
That's very annoying. I hate that.
But whatever. It's all. It's platform. It's Mac versus Windows all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. So speaking of Mac versus Windows, though, you might remember back in June 2012, Google acquired Quickoffice, and now Google's making Quickoffice free for everybody, allowing Android and iOS users to open and edit Microsoft Office documents on their devices. And what's better is that if you sign in to Quickoffice by September 26th, so you've got 2 days to do this, you'll get 10 gigabytes of free extra storage on Google Drive for the next 2 years. So clearly they want you to use Quickoffice. So, which is curious considering, well, I guess they want to convert people to Microsoft who are using Microsoft Docs on their device and then move them to Drive, I guess, and Google Apps.
I mean, Quickoffice doesn't edit Google Docs, so you still have to have both installed. I'm very confused by this. I really am. It doesn't solve a whole lot for me.
Yeah, like it seems like it's primarily like it started as a way to manage your Microsoft Office documents, and for that it's very useful. It's the app that does that, and now it's free. But eventually it made sense in some way for Google to build in kind of the Drive path into the Google Drive path into it. But then you're right, Derek. It kind of gets confusing because then it's like, okay, well then why
can I edit my Drive documents? Why do I have to have another app to do that? It just They need to integrate. That's one thing I hate about Google is there's multiple ways to do things, and none of them can do the exact same thing. So you have to go elsewhere. You know, like with Hangouts that we were just talking about. They need to pull those two together. They really do. It's just
reminders, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the show, between Google Now and Keep, and you know, there's like 3 different ways to do reminders in the address.
My
tasks, calendar.
My guess is that calendar. So you've got people using Microsoft Docs. I mean, I'll get a Word doc, I'll get an Excel spreadsheet. It's so annoying. I want to be able to edit on my device. So Quickoffice is a way to migrate them. They're giving the people using Quickoffice Drive storage. If they're not working on integrating the Quickoffice app into the Drive app, so that then I can import and edit and then make a Word doc into a Google Doc, that's got to be the long game. But I guess that this is the checkerboard of steps they need to get before they wipe the table clean. But I agree with you. It's kind of confusing. But this is what happens. Then a year from now, I'll be like, hey, remember Quickoffice? So
maybe it's a way to get the foot in the door. Who knows? We'll come back a year from now and we'll be like, what's Quickoffice or what's Drive? One of the two will be gone, and we'll just be referring to the latter.
Yeah, the other one.
So. Cool. Well, it's free, so free for everybody. Get your storage while you can.
Yeah, exactly.
10 gig.
Oh, quick question. Okay, so you get all this free storage, then you put stuff on it, you fill it all up, and then 2 years from now it goes away. What happens to your stuff?
All your stuff is still there. You just cannot add anything else until you purchase storage. So you don't lose anything. You just can't save anything because you're over your quota limit.
There you go.
Good answer. All right, good. I've wondered about that. Because
I was taking the long game approach. I was gonna wait 2 years to see what happened when you tried to access your data.
You wanted to research this.
That was just me. Doing. It was gonna be a practical thing. But sure, if you want the answer now.
Yeah, he's got the answer now.
These free storage deals are just these like long-term upsell deals where people get used to it and just assume that it's there. They upload a bunch of stuff and then boom, you're gonna get that email. It's like, hey, your free offer has expired. Click here to purchase more, or hey, you can download 100 gigabytes in a big zip file.
Yeah, and get it off.
And hope you have an external hard drive that can save it all. Here you go.
At least it's a click here to get more, and not in 2 years. Then you're going to pay $3.99 for this extra 10 gig, or like what they do with Google Music, where you get it for a month free, and then you automatically get a $79. And I'll never forget my father, like 5 years ago, warned me and said, "I got a feeling we're going to be getting death by 1,000 micropayments."
Yeah,
and it's true. I look at my debit account, and it's. $2.99 here, $3.99 there. Yeah, it's all these server, Dropbox, Google, like all these various things. So yeah.
Right.
No, I like that. Death by 1,000. I'm gonna quote your dad.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. Smarter than me. So. He is. He got a perfect on the SATs.
Does he have as good a hair as you though? That's my question.
I think I'm beating him on that one. Yeah, it's starting.
Beat him on the hair. Okay.
His is starting to thin. I got my grandfather's hair. So.
Oh, okay. All right, we've got an email from listener viewer. We love email. Matt Lucas writes in, "This is the community that has my answer, I'm sure. I have an app idea, just like everybody else. I am a QA engineer for Java-based web applications in the telecommunications area. I want to outsource my app development, but I don't know where to go, who to go to, or where to start. I am very familiar with the software development lifecycle and the basics of dev work, but who can develop my app on a shoestring budget and do an awesome job? What's the best way to tackle this? Consignment, sell the app idea, learn to program, go with a seasoned pro who does this kind of thing all the time? Help me, AAA community. You are my only hope." Sorry. This was this actually was posted onto the AAA Google Plus page. I apologize. This was not
my apology. I forgot to put that in there.
Yeah. No problem. So Matt, you're a QA engineer for Java-based web applications. So that's great because that means you know what you're talking about. So I have a little rant. I'll try to constrain it. I think that a lot of people have app ideas, and I think for people who aren't in the business of making software, I think that people sort of really have a misperception about like what making an app takes. I mean, I think there's even like a Big Bang Theory episode where the guys decide to make an app and they do it in like a couple of nights. And the reality is, you know this because you're a QA tester, you're a QA engineer. Making software is a big commitment. It requires a lot of different specialized skills, and it's not just writing code. It's graphic design, it's user experience, it's writing copy, it's writing, it's doing marketing, it's testing. So here's my advice for you. I think that you can absolutely outsource your app development to an overseas team, or you can find a student who's really good but really cheap to do it for you. I don't think that's the best road to go down, though. I had a friend who outsourced his web app development to a team overseas, and they delivered something that totally worked, but when he had to maintain the code, it was really difficult to maintain. He got a lot of spaghetti code. It was really difficult, managing someone remotely. And it's not just shipping your app, right? Like once you ship, you have to maintain, you have to fix bugs, you got to keep making it better. And developing an app on a shoestring budget, I don't really know what shoestring budget means to you, but just kind of level set, real talk. There's this indie web dev shop here in San Diego who makes mobile apps, and I was talking to them, and they get RFPs all the time from people who say, I have this app idea. How much would it take? And they, from the get-go, they say, if you're not, expect to pay at least $10,000 for the whole full service soup to nuts. Have an app idea, build the whole app, upload it, marketing. So $10,000, that's a lot of cash. I'm sure that you don't have nearly as much cash. My advice to you, since you work in QA for a Java-based web application, you have to know Java programmers. If I were you, I would find a friend, a coworker, someone who you can pitch your app idea and collaborate with and barter. Babysit their kids, take them out to dinner, set up some sort of rev share deal with them if you're going to do advertising or charge for your app, and work together on the app. You're going to have to do things like, graphic design and copywriting. I mean, for graphics, of course, we have a great sponsor on the show. You could do something like 99 Designs and get great art that way. But you're going to kind of have to beg, borrow, and steal. But I would definitely recommend, if you, as much as you can, working with a seasoned pro who preferably a collaborator, someone who can help you maintain and bug fix and keep making it better. And hey, if you're motivated enough, I would definitely recommend you learning to code, especially if you do QA, because it'll help you on your job as well. So best of luck with your app. I'm really curious about your idea. I always want to hear about the idea. Good luck to you. I hope that was a little bit helpful.
Well, I don't think we've ever had such a home run of a answer. I know. Look at that. Like, we're both sitting here just like, wow.
We're like, wow, you were the perfect person to answer that question, obviously.
I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of feelings about the I have an app idea, how do I build it on no money question. Because I get that a lot. We get that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You were spot on. Everything you said has been exactly concurrent with every experience I've had, whether it's app development or website development or whatever. I agree with you 100%. So.
Somebody else in the chat room said getting them drunk might help, too. So
there you go.
There's that.
You might not
Mow
get the best
their lawns, babysit their kids, take them out dinner. Do whatever you can do for them, do it. Bartering's actually, I think, a really good, or rev sharing and bartering, I think, is a really good way to team up with someone, a collaborator.
Yeah.
Also, I think building something, it's great to have a partner, a collaborator, or a co-founder.
Absolutely. Just in anything creative. I don't create apps, but anything creative, it's nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. Yeah. It actually creates momentum. Whereas when you're by yourself, it's very easy to hit that roadblock, and that's enough to stop you.
But that said, and just to play devil's advocate, and I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying that every path that has been laid out has its challenges. Like if you outsource, like Gina said, like if you outsource something to India or to somewhere else, you've got all the problems that come with that and the upkeep and the maintenance, stuff like that. But if you have your brilliant idea and you team up with somebody and they flake on you and your idea is stuck with them because they've half written the code and then you want to go work somebody else and they don't want to let go of it or whatever, that can get really scary too. So my advice to you is that if you do find someone to collaborate, just do a one-pager that explains everything and jot everything down. Do it in advance. It makes things much easier down the road. And if you've ever seen the Facebook movie, you can get a sense of what, at least if something was on paper that says, I get this, you get that, or whatever, whether it works in court or not, at least it will make the bumpy part, if it goes negatively, a little easier to deal with. But I definitely do agree collaborating is the way to go. It's just you got to find the right person. It's like dating.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, yep. Great question, though. Great answer. Gina, you're a queen. This is why we have you. We're lucky to be in your presence.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Totally
Good
true.
question.
Totally
Obviously,
true.
I had
True
a lot
story.
of feelings about it. I feel much better now. It was very cathartic for me.
Feelings.
Excellent. All right. Without fail, I'm realizing right now, Gina, that it totally did install. So I'm installing your app right now, which means let's get into the arena.
Want me to go first?
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Boom. Okay. I think we're going to be
Got
good.
it.
It's installing right now.
All right. Do you want me to revisit while it's installing, or
Let's see here.
just trying to help, man?
Oh,
Just trying to help.
okay,
Yeah.
go.
So last week on All About Android, episode 127, we had some. It was the three of us, Jason, Gina, and myself. We had some 3 great apps. We had the Dumb Ways to Die game, my Aldico book reader, and Gina had Simple Note. And let's take a look at the winner to see who won. And of course, as guessed, Dumb Ways to Die ran away with it with 54% of the vote, 187 votes. Coming in second was Aldico Book Reader with 82 votes, or 24%, and Simple Note got 78 votes, or 22% of the vote. So interesting. I was not surprised. I knew Dumb Ways to Die was going to take it. So.
Bringing awareness to
the dumb ways to die.
To the dumb ways to die.
metro safety everywhere.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
And I just got that song out of my head about an hour ago, and thanks to you, it's back in my head. I'm gonna start singing it again. My
you
wife
go.
was so mad because I was walking around the house singing it. She was like, "Damn it, I got that song." The refrain of that song is it's very earwormy. Okay, I won't sing it. I'll threaten it.
No, don't sing it. Although
Don't sing
it's
it
there
already.
already, so what's the point? All right, so we've got 4 awesome apps to feature today. Gina, I do have your app installed and running, so go ahead and talk about it, and I'll try and follow along.
All right, cool. So my app pick this week is, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, I'm going to pronounce it the way it's spelled, Onavo Count Data Usage. That's Onavo. Onavo, what it does is it keeps track of your data usage and what apps are using data. But you say, Android has this built in. It's true. Android does have this built in, but Onavo does a couple of extra things that I really, really like. So Jason has the app installed. So just like you would expect, you install the app, you register your device, and you tell it, my billing cycle starts on the 15th of the month, and if you have a bandwidth cap, you can enter your bandwidth cap. Oh, there you go. Those are the introductory screens there. Kind of gives you a little tutorial when you first install it. And so you can enter your plans. You put in your billing cycle and your cap. So I've got an unlimited data plan. I got the $30 unlimited T-Mobile plan, but I have a 5 gig cap on the high-speed data on 4G. So I put in the 5 gig cap as I was testing this. I've been running this app for a couple weeks. So you put that in, and just like Android's kind of built-in data usage app, it'll tell you, what apps are using the most usage. It'll alert you if you're coming close to your cap. Those kinds of things that you would totally expect and aren't any much different than what Android does. What this app does that's different is that it makes data usage kind of social. So what you can do is you can look at the list of apps that are using the most data. So say, Chrome is using the most data, or Netflix or YouTube, and then you can compare your data usage to other people's. So for example, when I saw that Facebook was using a lot of data, I tapped on that and I said, compare me to everyone else. Is this normal? And it turns out I'm in the bottom 20% of Facebook users. So I'm actually using a lot less data on Facebook than most people. It'll categorize your data usage into different categories like social, music, or travel. Before you download an app, you can see if its average data usage will fit inside of your plan. It'll tell you, where you are in the course of a month if you're gonna have enough data left for the rest of your billing cycle based on your usage so far. And you can also see trending apps based on apps that other Onavo users are using. So it's kind of this like social data visualization, extra social data visualization layer kind of on top of just your standard data usage cap information. So I really like that. I actually really it's really interesting. They have a trending apps list, which is like the apps that people are using that recently, because the all-time most used apps are pretty much the usual suspects. There's the WhatsApp, and then and the Skype, and the Instagram, the Facebook, and Messenger. But it's neat to see any new apps that are showing up and using up a little extra data. So it's a totally free app. If you have any sort of cap, or any sort of if you want to keep track of how you're using your mobile data, highly recommend it. It's a really nice enhancement to Android's built-in data usage tracking. That's
and
Onavo
well
Count.
Designed.
Yeah, really well
pretty
designed.
good guidelines and
looks really
great.
nice.
There's trending apps, speed test up there at the.
It's a very useful app.
Yeah, incredibly useful. This is great.
Cool.
I love it. So Onavo. See, I read it as Onavo.
Onavo.
Yeah, Onavo. Yeah.
But who knows?
Onavo.
Go either way.
You say Onavo, I say Onavo.
Onavo.
Yeah.
Onavo.
It's
Onavo.
Onavo Count and the pipe data usage, because I think Onavo Count. Maybe there are others. Just search for Onavo, you'll find it.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah. Good one. All right.
Potato.
I'm so old. All right.
Yeah, that's like an old man
I know,
joke right
just
there.
Like,
Totally.
Have you seen that new Fred Astaire pic? Or movie? I should say pic. Anyway, all right, cool. So on to my app. As you guys know, I love the crazy apps, and lately I've been really into the crazy interface apps. And a couple weeks ago, I did the Minuum keyboard, which I thought would go over great, and it didn't. So I got higher hopes for this one. I discovered this app. There's a free version, and there's also a paid pro version, and the paid pro version is 99 cents. So I'm suggesting you get the paid pro version because it actually unlocks a whole bunch of other cool stuff. And it is called Dynamic Keyboard Pro, and it is a keyboard replacement app. And here's the gimmick: it dynamically learns the way you type and increases the shape of keys as you type words to predict what the next letter is going to be.
Oh man!
Think about it. Freaky, right? Yes, they're correct. It's freaky. I'm going to show it to you now. It's not pretty. It's not well designed. It's very, in fact, it reminds you of the older apps that are out there. But it is functional. So when you get it, when you launch it, it kind of gives you guides you through the installation, similar to how Minuum or some of the other keyboard apps are starting to do now. It tells you how to enable it. Then you make it your default. Once you do that, there's some setup things that you can do. Within the general setup, you can define what kind of keyboard, whether you want a QWERTY keyboard or a ZERTY or alphabetical and all that sort of stuff. You can change the colors and all that sort of things. And here you can see them using it now. This is a tweaked one. And it just looks, doesn't it just look crazy? Yeah. So here, go back to me and I'll show them how to do it. So I'm going to test it out here, right? So here I've just got the standard default keyboard, and there it is. It just looks normal, right? But if I type, and do you want to zoom in on the keyboard itself? Because it doesn't really matter what I'm typing, but yeah, okay. So there we go. So I'm going to say, this is a test of the keyboard. So what it's doing is it's changing the size of the buttons based on what I'm typing. So for example, if I type W, H gets a little bigger, A got super bigger. I'm going to say H. And now E gets super bigger, and A gets, so it thinks I want to say where, but I'm saying what. And as I'm doing this, it's learning and adjusting the size of the buttons based on my typing. So there you go. If you're looking for I can't even say intuitive keyboard that learns as you type, and is totally customizable and tablet optimized and phone optimized, Dynamic Keyboard Pro is the way to go on this. It's so wacky. I mean, look at it. Look at it go.
I love how the keys look like old school typewriter keys.
Well, yeah, that's one kind of approach to it. They change that. You can see here I have just the default on. You can change the shape of the keys to be either circles or squares or rounded corners. They have a little animation that they kind of breathe. So when I type something, they kind of have a little bounce to it. There's vibration, there's sound, there's all that sort of stuff. So here, if I go back to the settings, we can go into the customizing, and the customizing is adjusted for in the Pro version. So I can change the size of the keys to be either small or large keys in the rest state. So I have them regular. Let's make them large. We can see that. I can change the key shape, so I can make them into circles. I can have them have sharp edges or not. I can turn off the drop shadow or the translucent background. I can change the colors, and there's a whole bunch of other different kind of things where you can change what, so I'm going to make it dark red. All right. And then I'm going to turn on the breathing animation. And so now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to test it, and you're going to see. So that's what I've changed now is now they're circles, and you can't really tell on the camera, but there's a dark red drop shadow. And when I do that, they all get a little bigger. So, yep. So there you go. That is Dynamic Keyboard Pro Wacky. So
it's a really cool concept. The logo looks a little bit like a ransom note, but it's a really cool concept.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah. But when you get it, I mean, for me, somebody with my fat fingers, having the keys be a bigger key, like having the keys be a bigger size, definitely helps. And I've noticed I've done less typos with this. It's not predicting what you're typing like a Swift key does or whatever, but it's predicting what the likely next key you're going to do. And if you look at any sort of keyboard research, you type a TH. And more than likely, your next letter is going to be E. So it makes the E one really big. And if it's really big, the chances of me typing the wrong key are much smaller. So it's pretty neat. I've been playing with it. I urge you to check it out. It's worth the 99 cents. So go for it. So there you go.
Very cool.
And it's only got like 1,000 downloads. So let's see if we can affect that. I'm all about that in the Play Store.
I would love to see this built into SwiftKey, or I'd love to see them merge with SwiftKey.
It would be cool. I mean, I get the sense that it's one dude named Alistair who's working on this, as you can tell by the design. Maybe he should go to 99 Designs.
Well, okay. The menu,
the menu had
has
a little more
charm to it.
A little charm, yeah. But yeah, I dig it. So there you go. There's the menu. It's very, very. Talk about the G1. This reminds me of a G1 app.
Yeah, that menu needs help.
Yep. So anyway,
totally.
Dynamic Keyboard Pro. Go for it.
Awesome. Dynamic Keyboard Pro. Derek, I've installed your app, so why don't you go ahead and talk about what you have, and I'll see if I can show it off for you.
Okay. All right. So my app is Square Register. I actually had the chance to use this last week in a real world scenario, and it was a lifesaver. So I feel very fond of this app. Square Register is simply it's a register on your Android device for your business. It allows you to accept credit cards, do cash sales. You can now accept checks with the most recent device. You can do gift cards, and you don't need to have a merchant account set up. You don't need to have anything crazy. You just get Square Register installed, and you're pretty much ready to go. Now, to get started, you can enter the amount on the keyboard, your total, or you can swipe to the right and you can have your whole entire inventory listed there. So you have all your items that you want to look at. That Google Glass in there for $1,600. Yeah. So if you want to buy Google Glass, you add it just by tapping on it, or if you have tons of items listed, you can search. But then whenever you want to check out, you want to have the customer check out, you can just have them scan the credit card, or just swipe the credit card. But if you don't have a credit card, like I said, you can go ahead and do a cash sale and do a check or a gift card. If you had a gift card for Google Glass, that's pretty cool. And then the user has the ability to have their receipts sent to them by a text message, where it sends you a text message with a link to the Square website where they click on it and they get a receipt, or they can have the receipt sent to them in an email. And, for running your business on mobile, it's awesome. Like I said, I used it last week and I loved it. It's very simple, very easy to use. And it is only 2.5% per swipe, and it accepts all major credit cards. So yeah, if you're going to buy, I don't know how many versions of Google, 43 Google Glass, you can go ahead and do it for $6,800.
Okay. Cash and, This is Gina buying this, by the way. So, yes, Gina, I hope you have $68,000 for all of these Google Glass.
Of course. Yeah, so I got that in my bathroom.
Credit card handy that we could demo the swipe ability.
Yeah. No, I have to say, it's a great app. Where I get my haircut, actually, she uses the Square app with the swiper. And I wish that we had it, because one of the funnest parts of it is signing your signature on the dotted line with the touchscreen. For some reason, it's really satisfying. It does it really well. It tracks really well, and it looks great. And the whole experience is awesome. Ring through. The minute I walk out of the place where I get my haircut, I get an email on Gmail, and there you go.
Look at that.
There we go. We
Johnny
can
on
do
the
a live
spot.
demo now.
Jeez.
All right, so who has that credit card with a balance for 70 grand?
I know, right? There we go. Yes. Who's
Not cool,
gonna
man.
buy this?
Not cool.
Come on. I don't know if I feel comfortable swiping
Little
anything
side
through
note:
this right
anybody that has a Moto X available, or any of the new Droids, Square, Register, as well as PayPal here and stuff like that, they don't actually work yet on those devices, but they work great on the Nexus 7 2013, which is I had to use it on. Motorola is aware of it, and they are going to update it in the next software patch, they said.
Yeah, it's great. It's super solid. Square's just fantastic. I love the service is obviously great, and the app is really well designed. It's just a nice, smooth experience.
It's very very simple app, and the web version of it where you can go in, and look at your activity and go in and add items and change your business name and everything. It's a very nice designed web app too, so it goes hand in hand with the mobile app.
I completely forgot. My wife would probably kill me if I didn't remember this because it only dawned on me. She actually uses this at her business. So Square, and she has the swiper. They all have it there. So
Square's going to take. Square's going to go down and be one of the important.
I completely agree.
Really, yeah.
They're really doing some awesome stuff.
And they're going to go public eventually. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
so, cool.
Well, that's awesome. Square Register. I think is the swiper free if you read.
Yeah, it is. So if you order one from them, it takes about a week to get it, and they'll send it to you in the mail for free. Or you can go to Radio Shack and pick one up for $10, and then they give you a redeem code. You go to squareup.com/redeem, I think, and you can enter it in there and get your $10 back.
Man, they are smart. They're smart to do that because it just completely eliminates the barrier to even get started, and suddenly they start receiving a little
Coming from somebody that used to do with the big bulky credit card machines years ago when I had my own business and had to deal with a merchant account and all the the PCI stuff you had to deal with, to have somebody else do it for you, it's so easy for a business owner.
I was at the grocery store just real quick before I move on the other day, and they couldn't get my credit card to swipe through, so they had to do it the old-fashioned way, like the
chunk,
the big thing, and put it out. It took like 5 minutes. I was so hated in line because I was that guy.
And that used to be the way they did it.
Yeah,
I mean, I worked at a record store in the '90s, and we would have to do the chunk, and then the rip the carbon out and rip it up and show the person that you ripped it up. And my God, yeah.
This is so much easier.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So Square Register, there you go. Mine's going to be kind of a quickie here because I think we're running out of time, but I like astronomy and I like space and stuff. I'm not very smart when it comes to the ways of space, but I like just the thought of it and floating out in space and all that. So Pocket Planets is my choice just because it's kind of fun to poke around. $3.29 in the Play Store. Go ahead and load it up on the tablet here real quick. And let's see here. So Pocket Planets basically allows you to maneuver through space and take a look at all of the different kind of things here. So let me see if I can do this and talk at the same time. So I'm floating through. There's Jupiter. If I click and hold, gives me an encyclopedia that actually pulls up information based on whatever entity you happen to be looking at. Has all these little did you knows with all this information that's tied to the celestial being that you happen to be looking at. And the controls on maneuvering through take a little getting used to because, I mean, it's a huge space filled with all these different things that you can pull up. I think they say that there are 200 simulation objects throughout the world. And so, it just kind of takes a little bit of getting used to. You kind of click and hold, and you can rotate. You can change how the camera is done, so it can either be linked to an object or not, and you have a little bit more free-flowing kind of capabilities. But you can kind of see everything kind of coming into view right here. If I just click on that, we'll start to get a little bit more information on it. And Varuna, what is Varuna? Discovered in November 28th, 2000, a member of the Spacewatch team. I don't know. It's just a cool app to kind of get lost in. And not to mention the animations are really kind of well done, smooth. It's almost like you're flying through space to take a look at all these different locations. You can adjust time. They have a simulator time and a time slider, so you can kind of take a look at the universe at different stages of time. Portrait and landscape. I didn't use it on my phone. I have to imagine this is something that really sings on a tablet. I know it sings on a tablet, but it's probably the preferred way to do this is to check it out on the tablet. And just a whole lot of information, data pulled in from places like NASA, NASA's Horizon systems, orbit calculations with lots of things that I don't understand. But ultimately, it's cool because you can explore space and find all these different planets and go to Pluto and see why the heck is it not a planet anymore and read up on it. And it's a little bit more than just going to an encyclopedia or Wikipedia online and doing a search. You get to kind of fly there and take a look at it, what's surrounding it, and go, oh, what's that? Orbiting around. I don't know. It's just a really fun time waster. So it's Pocket Planets. There is a free version, but I just got the paid version, and I think you probably want it. I don't even know what the free version does, to be honest, but it's $3.29, and it's a lot of fun. Pocket Planets. If you like space, you're going to like this. Who doesn't like space? So there you go. All right. So we had some great apps in the arena, if I do say so myself. Onavo Count, data usage, Dynamic Keyboard Pro, Square Register, and Pocket Planes. You can vote for your favorite, or planets. Is Pocket Planes? It's something, right?
Pocket Planes is probably something.
It's probably a game. I think I just read that wrong, obviously. AAApoll.com/128, is it?
Pocket Planes on both Android and iOS by Nimblebit.
Okay, I knew it was a game that
it's like a fun little 8-bit airport simulator. From the creators of Tiny Tower comes Pocket Planes, a casual airline sim that fits right in your pocket.
There we go. Might have to review that next week.
I need a casual airline that will fit in my pocket.
Let's see here. AAApoll.com/128 is the place to go, and it looks like Onavo has taken the lead early on. I have a feeling this week's going to be really close because they're all pretty darn
Onavo
solid.
is pretty dang useful. I mean, Square Register is useful. Dynamic Keyboard Pro is a joke. Pocket Planets is pretty cool. It's going to be some good stuff. It's a good poll. Go vote. AAApoll.com/128.
Help me out. Charts.
Oh, wow. Wow. But we got vote begging. That's a first.
It's been a while, Ron.
It has been a while, yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Pocket Planet's now tied for the lead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boom, space. I mean, how can you compete with space?
Wait, I don't think everyone really understands the buttons change size as you type. And there were some questions in the chat room. It handles numbers and punctuations in the same way. It works just like any normal keyboard. The buttons change size as you type.
Can't stress that enough, people.
It's magic.
Social charts.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Well, we shall find out next week which of these apps reigns supreme. Next week, in fact, just while we're on the topic, Shannon Morse, you may know her from such shows as Before You Buy on the Twit Network, as well as Hack 5. She's going to step in and lend her Android knowledge to the show.
We thought it got saucy when Iaz was here, but now it's going to get...
Yes, she's going to bring the knowledge,
Put Shannon in the mix.
She's going to bring the null.
It's going to be good.
But...
null. Remember the null.
Really, yes, never forget the null.
Never forget the null.
Never forget.
Derek Ross, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Jason, Ron, Gina, it was great to be here.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you back sometime.
Definitely.
This is your opportunity to kind of tell people what you're up to, where they can find your work. If you have anything working right now that you want to announce, go for it. Whatever. It's up to you.
Well, I'll try to keep it simple since I like to talk. You can check me out on Google+. That's where I'm mainly at. Don't really do, Twitter so much. So google.com/plus Derek Ross. Also on Fandroid, new writer there as a few weeks ago. Plan on writing a few articles a week to keep me busy in the Android universe. And I'll be at the Big Android Barbecue here in a few weeks. If you're a fan of Android, you're going to the Big Android Barbecue. Don't forget to check it out. It'll be in October 10th. I don't remember the exact date. I'm going to be there whenever it is. So Big Android Barbecue. I'll be posting a lot of information about it soon in the near future.
I really have to make an effort to go to
It is a lot of fun.
I know. I keep hearing that, and it's too late for me this year, but I feel like I'm going to make a...
You know what? There are still tickets available. I believe Aaron was just saying so the other day. There's going to be a lot of sessions this year on Glass, on a lot of Android stuff, geeking out, and a lot of drinking. I mean, Android geeking out, drinking. You can't beat that. You can't.
If it was any other weekend, I would totally go. That's cool. It's the same week as New York Comic Con. So
you kind of have to do that for work.
Yeah.
It's kind of important.
It's kind of important, but I want to barbecue. I want to drink and talk Android.
I know. Sounds awesome. Yeah. We'll have fun. We'll be following your updates. You're super active on Google Plus, especially as well. So.
I'm addicted, I guess.
Yeah. No, hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You've got quite the following on there too.
Thank you.
So speaking of Comic-Con,
yes.
What do you got going on, Ron?
So you can check out what I do by day over at imagecomics.com, where we work and publish some of the best comics in the business. And if you're interested in my silly ramblings, you can go to about.me/RonXO, and you can find me on Twitter and Google Plus and Facebook and all that fun stuff. So
excellent work today, Ron.
I tried.
You did good.
I brought it.
Gina, what you got going on?
I also host This Week in Google here on the Twit Network. And actually, with Leo on vacation, I'm lead hosting tomorrow. So you should come on by, watch live. It's at 1 p.m. Pacific. I guess that's 4 p.m. Eastern time. And otherwise, you can see everything else I'm up to on my personal site, GinaTrapani.org. Tweet me, Gina Trapani. Find me the same name on Google+. But do come by and watch Twig tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're going to rock it tomorrow.
I'm going to talk really quickly, which is what I do when I'm nervous. so I'm going to try to slow it down.
Yes. A big Post-it note on your monitor that says slow.
Yeah, slow.
That never
slow
seems to
down.
work for me. Awesome. I'll definitely be watching. It'll be distracting me from editing, as it does every Wednesday.
Oh,
Chad, what you got going on?
I need to unmute my mic. I do a few shows on the network. I do This Week in YouTube, TWIYT. I do this show all about Android doing the video switching, and I also do a show about Minecraft, which is OMG Craft. So yeah, thanks. Jason, what have you been up to? Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me at about.me/Jason Howell, my musical exploits at yellowgoldmusic.com. I also happen to do shows on the network, produced Tech News Today, The Giz Wiz, it's a number of other shows, Frame Rate. But anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about you, because you are awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in week after week. Seriously, we have a great community on this show, and we'd be nothing without you guys. You guys, you keep us honest, and you keep feeding us with awesome emails and feedback, and sometimes praise, sometimes not so much praise, but we kind of need that because we need to be put in our place at times. So we appreciate that too. But we love hearing from you. So leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us an email or a video mail to aaa@twit.tv. Find us on Twitter. We're at Android Show. We have a Reddit that we're looking at actively for the show. It's twitaaa.reddit.com. We're going to start calling out people's names as it gets a little bit more action. Promise to do that starting next week. Show notes and past episodes are at twit.tv/AAA. As well, you can find our shows on YouTube and iTunes. Thank you, Chad. And finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android.